Super Tensai looking at Semantic. He's looking like a tasty morsel. In he goes. Able to get away as well with a super, but not to safety. Crazy Raccoon. The king of old has returned to claim his dues. From the dumpster to the throne. A rags to riches story. Stuck on repeat.
Ever since 2022, the sacred trophy of the World Finals has not returned to Japan. In 2023, the Polish Zeta division took it home. And in 2024, Hmble performed the most dominant Grand Finals performance, destroying Crazy Raccoons in a 3-0 sweep. The consensus was that Europe is now by far the best region in both skill and draft, and the old champions of Japan are now a relic of the past. In February of 2025, Troupe announced his departure from Crazy Raccoons, joining Zeta division with Sasuke and Levy. In 2024's World Finals, Troupe played a huge part in the success of Crazy Raccoons, and no one ever doubts his quality. Many still believe he is the pinnacle of mechanical skills. But now, Crazy Raccoons have a huge void to fill in. Losing a star player means that they have to somehow fill a spot. Tensai and Moya decided to pick up Milkrio as their third, and these three instantly clicked in the first monthly finals. In the quarterfinals, they ran over effort results with a 3-1 victory. Then in the semi-finals, the Raccoons destroyed the Chappies Na'Vi 3-0. Reaching the grand finals in the first month was already a good result, but the Raccoons showed no mercy and easily won 3-1 against Reject. Crazy Raccoons takes the early lead in the season. Since Zeta division were knocked out in the semis, many believe Tensai's new team had the upper hand to become East Asia's #1 team. But this belief will quickly vanish in people's mind. In March, Crazy Raccoons were dropped down to the lower brackets in the qualifiers, meaning they would face an upper bracket team in the quarterfinals. And let's just say luck wasn't with them in March. They were drawn to Troupe's Zeta division in the first round, where we saw the first APAC El Clasico play out. And if you guys were around in 2022, you would know how competitive these matches become. And March's edition of this rivalry will not be any different. In set 1, Zeta division were completely dominating the game. After an early team wipe, Zeta turned down CR's high save to a not so healthy 1%. Obviously, the Raccoons were unable to pull off a comeback and Zeta takes the first set. However, Tensai and friends were then able to bounce back to win set 2 and 3, putting them one set away from winning the APAC El Clasico. However, this Troupe guy then goes shade on both set 4 and 5. And let's just say he played pretty good.
Troupe bullying this CR roster. A team regarded for high mechanics, but he's an old rival. It's going to be such a good showing here. Things could really shape up here in East Asia, and Troupe continuing to just bury the enemy side. And the #1 team in East Asia will fall. Zeta division get a marquee victory for their season.
Unfortunately, the Raccoons were dropped out in round 1 of March, but they were still 3rd place in the league table. 10 points behind 2nd place Zeta division. By the way, for East Asia, only the top 2 teams get to directly qualify for Worlds. As so, basically all the teams in the region will be fighting for the top 2 slot. However, CR's chances of going to Worlds just went down and down as the year progressed. In April, they reached the semis to go up against Zeta once again, but this time Zeta sweeps them 3-0. In June, they lost the first round against Na'Vi 3-1. And after June's monthly finals, the gap between 2nd and 3rd place went from 10 points to almost 60 points. Meaning that in July, Crazy Raccoons had to at least reach the grand finals to keep their hopes of qualifying to Stockholm alive. In the first round of July, it was yet again an APAC El Clasico. I swear Supercell just puts these two teams together for the viewerships. Anyways, just like March, the match went to a set 5 decider. And CR were really giving everything they had to qualify for Worlds.
Well, Milkrio from behind and now 1 goal or 1 minute 20 away from this game.
It's down to a potential gadget here of Troupe and the ball. There's no hypercharge, no additional speed, and it's go time. Can they get this ball out in time? There's so much support there from the side of CR. They're defending for their lives, and the ball stays firm. CR have already gone and done it, getting it right on the day, and you can see what it means to them. CR are back in business.
However, after defeating one of his past teammates, Tensai had to face another one, a Chappies Na'Vi. And in a must-win match, they were swept 3-0, meaning that for the first time in his career, Tensai would not be directly qualified to Worlds. And this result shocked everyone. Some people blame the loss of Milkrio as he seemed to be the weak link of the team. And to be honest, I would also agree that out of the 3 players, Milkrio's performance in the regular season was by far the worst out of the 3. But I think the major reason for CR's downfall is their awful draft. After the 2024 World Finals, every team in the world discovered the increasing importance of drafting. In previous years, East Asia relied on their mechanical dominance to create advantages. However, Europe overtaking them completely in recent years was simply because of better drafts and executions. If a team gets outdrafted, no matter how mechanically skilled they are, there's still no way of coming back. And in 2025, the East Asia region also began to put more emphasis on learning and trying new drafts. But I feel like for the regular season, Crazy Raccoons was the team who put the least importance in draft. Their philosophy of winning by pure mechanics simply was not working in the Big 25. And for the first time in his career, Tensai would travel to Brazil for the last chance qualifiers. In the 2 months leading to LCQs, CR's main task is to improve their drafting. And props to Rayleigh, as I do believe CR has improved in drafts a lot in the postseason. But I'll cover that later on in the video. In the LCQs, Crazy Raccoons were drawn to Group A, with Revenant and Inner Circle. Basically, everyone speculated that Crazy Raccoons and Inner Circle would be the 2 teams who would come out from the group. However, a shocking appearance of Sergeant disrupted everyone's predictions. In the winner's match, Revenant X-Spark pulled a shocker and defeated Crazy Raccoons 3-2, dropping them down to the lower brackets. Luckily, Inner Circle's performance in Brazil were far from good, and Crazy Raccoons advances with a 3-1 victory. But being the second seed means that CR would have to face a first-seeded team in the golden ticket match, and they were drawn to South America's final hope, Casa Brawl. And these 2 teams shared many similarities. Both teams used to be the king of the region but have fallen off quite badly during the 2025 season. However, with the home crowd behind Casa, their performance during the LCQs were very impressive. As the match began, Casa were already dominating, winning 2-0 in Brawl Ball and also took the set win in Jump Grab. Crazy Raccoons are now 1 set away from their season being over, and it would mark Tensai's first year of not qualifying to the World Finals. However, when the pressure is on, the double World Champ difference shines out even more.
Position in turn, Crazy Raccoon, they're counting up to 100%. Only a few more to go, and in spite of desperate efforts from Pekka, he will never even be able to reach that tree. Milkrio Tensai left completely alone. Where's the defense? From Casa, it's absolutely nowhere to be seen. Crazy Raccoon might be doing the unthinkable.
2-0, 2-0, 2-0 was the score sheet of the final 3 sets. A dramatic reverse sweep gave Crazy Raccoons the golden ticket to Stockholm. And in the following month of preparation, Crazy Raccoons were on the redemption arc. As I was saying, the team's mechanics are undoubtedly top-notch. No one doubts their quality of play. However, their biggest weakness was the drafting aspect of the game. For example, in the first 2 sets against Casa, Crazy Raccoons were dominated before the game even began. And I guess during the month leading up to the World Finals, Crazy Raccoons really locked in on that aspect. And their first test would soon arrive, as they were drawn to Hmble in the first game of Stockholm. A great opportunity to see how much they improved from last year. However, as the game began, it didn't go well for Crazy Raccoons. In set 1, although both teams were playing really well, I still think that Hmble had the upper hand throughout the set. Luki on the Ziggy was just too dominant and Crazy Raccoons eventually loses set 1. And heading into set 2, bad just became worse, as Hmble totally outdrafted the Raccoons, and Tensai was just a sitting duck on the Kaze. A 2-0 win in Bounty brought Hmble to a similar situation they had in 2024. And it felt like deja vu. It seemed like the Raccoons would get swept once again. But wait, why is Milkrio laughing? While down 2-0, this guy somehow had the balls to chuck and giggle, elevating the team spirit, and the draft began to get better. In set 3, CR goes for Chuck, Cordelius, and Buzz, with Chuck going on the offense and the other 2 staying back to prevent any damage from Hmble. And the strategy worked perfectly. Chuck was shutting down the safe on his own, and the Raccoons easily wins 2-0. 1 set completed, 2 sets to go. In Bell's Rock, the Raccoons goes 2-2, completely outdrafting the reigning world champions, and none of Hmble players even got a kill throughout the set. The tides were now completely on CR's side. Although Hmble had the world champ difference, Tensai was superior with a double world champ difference.
Well, now 83% and counting. Hmble have to make a play. Boss trying to come forward. Weekend Warrior for extra damage, but that Grimm and Frostbite's going to make it hard to pass. No chance here for Hmble to break through. A Crazy Raccoon vanquish the ghost of their past, taking down your world champions in 5 sets in their debut match in Stockholm.
Crazy Raccoons somehow reversed from Hmble and went on to the winner's match, where they would face Troupe Gaming on day 2. RBM, Luffy, and Zeus were on a revenge tour, with the biggest targets being Crazy Raccoons, and this match was nothing less of cinema. The tension was high in every single game, and neither team had the advantage throughout the match. It felt like one set was going to the Raccoons, and the next one was heading towards Troupe. In set number 5, Crazy Raccoons were able to take the early lead with a final team push, suffocating Troupe in their own spawn and were on match point. But Troupe Gaming wouldn't just hand over the win that easily.
Isolated, Luffy wants to capitalize. They brought the Kaze down, but Milcrio shielded up straight into the cocoon with you. Tensai off spawn though, puts Crazy Raccoon ahead, and Luffy can't get it done. North America's best get over the line and stay alive.
It was now double match point. Whichever team wins advances out the group. And in clutch situations, always bet on Crazy Raccoons.
Tensai drops the super. RBM low HP. Milcrio a man on the mission. And once again, he delivers! Let this be a warning to the world. LAN is where demons come to play. Dread it. Run from it. Crazy Raccoon are inevitable.
A back-to-back 3-2 win brings the Raccoons out of Group B. And their first opponents on day 3 will be Stamina, the team who miraculously defeated State of Division. And to be honest, they were playing so well. In set 1, they were up by 7 stars in bounty, a deficit that is nearly impossible to come back for any team. Well, for any team except Crazy Raccoons. This daylight robbery destroyed the mentality of Stamina. And with this momentum, CR will go on to sweep them 3-0. But then in the semi-finals, it was SK Gaming, universally agreed to be the best team in 2025. Leading up to this match, SK were on the perfect record, winning 9-0 in the previous 3 matches. They were the juggernaut, the unstoppable force, the Goliath. However, Crazy Raccoons just might be Little David. In set 1, my glorious King Tensai showed Juan Carlos how to actually use Kit, exerting crazy pressure and somehow became the gem carrier. But in set 2, Opace Macy was just something else. The sets were 1-1 heading into set 3. Both teams knew that winning this set will be crucial for their mental, but SK Gaming dominated game 3 in fashion, as CR couldn't even get a quarter of the hot zone. However, after this many close calls, the Raccoons were not giving up. Similar to the last set, Heist also went on to a decisive game 3. And in the final 20 seconds, CR were only 3% ahead.
Here, but Yoshi and Ope will be on defense. Crazy Raccoon have a slim lead, but that Fanstorm is going to increase it further. 10 seconds left. Moya, a little bit low, forced to double back. Tensai has to be addressed. He needs to be dealt with. And there's a state crack here. It could be all over. And SK Gaming get run roughshod into the dirt. Crazy Raccoon will stand in their way until the very end.
The Raccoons again pushes it to set 5. And in a drafting phase, both teams did it in a safe manner. This was an all-out sharpshooter showdown. And in a pure mechanical face-off, no one beats the Japanese.
Absolutely crazy. These tubs now from Joker were landing. A missed walking cane though. Moya's still very beefy here. It's 2 versus 2. Moya's lowest is no PE now. He finds a great tackle to Milcrio. He's surely got one. Can he survive? He'll for himself. Moya is low, but Ope is lower. He will fall.
Tensai getting low, has to duck behind the sandbag, and a walking cane catches Moya. Here's the hypercharge though. Yoshi can't get away. Oh no! They don't care for fairy tales. They don't care for legacies. They'll leave muddy footprints on your memoirs. Today, they're looking for treasure. Today, they're looking for glory.
Crazy Raccoons barely inches out 3-2, and Tensai returns to the grand finals. Tensai, Moya, and Milcrio climbed all the way from Brazil and has returned to the biggest stage of Brawl Stars. Their opponents were an old foe, the exact same team that swept Tensai and Moya in the previous year. But this time, Milcrio was the X factor.
個人的にはチームメイトが今世界2位、4位ってきてるんですよ、2人とも。なんで、やっぱ1位させてあげたいなっていう気持ちがあります。
Milcrio wanted to win not for glory, not for fame, not for money. He wanted to win to crown his friends as champions. This selfless attitude has brought him so far. During the regular season, everyone was blaming him for the downfall of Crazy Raccoons. And in Stockholm, he has been delivering constant 10 out of 10 performances. And now in the grand finals, CR needed him to do it one final time. And of course, he delivers. An exceptional Crow set brings the Raccoons up 1-0. In set 2, this time Moya was the hero of Japan, fiercely charging in with Draco again and again, which allowed his 2 teammates to easily slot the ball in the net. Crazy Raccoons are somehow up 2-0 against Hmble. And sometimes life is just that poetic. A team that no one believed in has crawled their way up to the grand finals. From Tokyo to Sao Paulo to Stockholm, Crazy Raccoons were on their redemption arc. Just 1 year ago, they were swept 3-0 in Helsinki. And after 365 days, they delivered the sweetest revenge in Brawl Stars.
負けて 負けて負けて負けて負けて負けて負けて負けて勝って負けて負けて負けて負けて負けて負けて勝って負けて負けて負けて勝って負けて負けて勝って負けて勝って勝って勝って勝って勝って勝って勝って竜を勝った。
Tensai becomes the first and only player to achieve the triple world champ difference. Milkrio after 6 years becomes world champion and Rayleigh breaks history, being the only person to win worlds as a player and a coach. And well, Moya, I guess he's a world champion as well.